We're here at the J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco, and joining me in the studio this afternoon is Pixium Vision's CEO, Khalid Ishaque. Khalid, very good to see you.
Great to see you. Great to be here.
So I want to talk a little bit about the two products that you have. You have one coming to market very soon, and then you have another that is going to be in clinical trials. Let's start with the first product because as I understand it, it's a device that's implanted on top of the retina, which helps restore vision. Can you share with our viewers a little bit about this product?
Sure. So Pixium Vision is the only company today working on two products on the retinal implant field. First product indeed is to be placed on the surface of the retina at the back of your eye. Hence it's referred to as epiretinal technology. And that's the first product which has been in clinical and is pending European CE mark approval, which is expected towards the middle of the year, this year.
So with this device, it's implanted in the eye, and then is there something that the patient wears? I understand you have a very unique and proprietary set of eyewear that the patient would wear?
Correct. So the vision restoration system, retinal implant for artificial bionic vision, consists of essentially three components. You have an implant, which is surgically implanted, and then you don't see anything after the implant. And in order then to activate the implant, the patient wears a pair of special glasses with an integrated camera, and the camera is a bio-inspired camera which functions and mimics the behavior of a human eye. And it's a very special camera which is capturing a visual scene, which is then processed through a pocket computer, and then the signal is sent back wirelessly to the implant in the eye to start stimulating the back of the retina, and hence the signal travels through the optic nerve to the back of the brain when the patient then starts to perceive vision again.
So are these patients that have lost their sight, or are these patients that are born with impaired eyesight?
So the state of the technology today is you are dealing with people who have indeed had vision at some point, are required to have a functional optic nerve and have history of vision. In order for us to understand, as we try to restore vision, we need to be communicating and understanding. And today we are only treating patients who have lost the sight, and we are not dealing with people yet, people who were born blind, for example.
So would a patient experience or benefit, is it one eye, both eyes? How does it, what does the typical patient look like?
Right, so, so typically today in the stage of the technology and the clinical experience we are implanting in one eye, and it's typically selected the worst of the two eyes. That's a decision taken between the physician and the patient. The stage of the technology today, from a safety profile, we're implanting in one eye for the first generation technology.
So Khalid, how long does the process take? So I go in, I'm diagnosed, this therapy is right for me. Tell me about the implantation and how long, what kind of a procedure is that?
Sure. So the clinical indication we are treating patients today is called Retinitis Pigmentosa. These are patients who are typically diagnosed in their teenage years. This is a genetic disease which causes progressive loss of sight, and typically these people lose completely their sight into their 40s. So, and there's no solution today. And that's the patient population which we are treating with this technology today. And the procedure after they're diagnosed, there is an inclusion criteria today which requires patient to be really in bare to no light perception in order to qualify for the implant. And the surgical procedure typically is 2.5 hours with our device. And typically the patient will stay in the hospital 1 or 2 days, subject to no surgical complications. And then a couple of weeks after the implant, once the surgical procedure is no other complications, the patient then starts the activation of the implant, and then they go through a relearning, re-education process on how to interpret the stimulation commands we are sending to the eye, and the patient starts to relearn and reactivate the parts of the brain, because these patients have been blind for a number of years in the meantime.
Now, the implant, how long does that last? Is it once implanted, it's good for a long period of time, or is there a process that it needs to be renewed or another implant put in?
Sure. So the engineers have done a remarkable job in this technology, which was originally when research started in the late 90s, and you're dealing in a very sensitive space and microelectronics in a hot and a salty environment in the eye. So yes, there is a chance that the device will not work. So the engineers actually in our device have designed it to be explantable in order for us to then, so it's a proprietary approach they have designed. And in case the device does not work, or in the future we want to upgrade the device, we can explant the device, and with the possibility to upgrade the patient as either the technology will improve, or worst case scenario, the device no longer functions. It's microelectronics, it may happen. We can explant relatively safely and then offer the patient the possibility to take advantage of the future improvements.
Yeah. Now, Khalid, I'm looking at your next generation product here that I'm holding in my hand, and it's very, very much smaller. Tell me about this product and what's going to set this apart.
So the whole field of microelectronics, computer technology, miniaturization, we are in the era of the brain, which requires continuous progress towards miniaturization. So we are working with the technology now, which has been significantly downsized to really be implanted at the level of the photoreceptors, the famous rods and cones, which are the ones which no longer work for these people who have lost sight. So in order to place an implant, an electronic implant, really underneath the retina, you need to really go from macro size to micro implants. And that's the new technology which we call Prima. And that's in the preclinical phase at this point. And the technology was developed at the University of Stanford in the US and has been transferred to Europe to be industrialized and to prepare for the first in-human implants. And it's ideally suited to be less invasive, to allow us to get to a local anesthetic procedure. The goal is to be a sub-1 hour procedure, and ideally suited and very elegant for age-related macular degeneration patients, where your goal now is to protect the residual peripheral vision and only target the central vision, which is being blocked with the loss of the cones in the central vision of these patients.